Welcome, and thank you for joining this session of Innovation Institute 2021. With nearly 50 sessions available through the summer, we know you'll be discovering new skills, strategies, and resources to transform the teaching and learning in your classroom, and we would love to hear from you. If you haven't already done so, please be sure to visit the Town Hall in Attendify to connect with the attendees through the activity stream or community features. If you would like a certificate of attendance for attending this session, you will find the request form linked at the end of the session description in Attendify. Thank you, and enjoy this session from one of our amazing Innovation Institute presenters.
Perfect. All right. Hello, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started. I am Laura Steinbrink, and I am super excited to be here with you today. And I've brought my partners in crime for esports. On this side, I have Jeff Wofford. He is our head coach at my school district. And then his wife over here, Liz Wofford, and she is the assistant coach. And they are really the reason that I got into esports. I had just previously ignored it. But now I don't. I am all in for esports in education for sure. So I'm going to share my screen and show you all a little bit about us as I talk. Once I get that shared again, we are coming to you from Plato, Missouri. I'm actually just finishing up my year at Plato, and I will be going to a new school district, Waynesville High School, for the next school year. And I'm sad to leave my two partners, but I am going to try to get esports started at the new school. They have already put some things in motion, and I am hoping to help facilitate their getting it ready. If you have not gone into the chat and grabbed the presentation, you can use the QR code here or type it in, or just go get the link, click on it in the Attendify chat. It is there for you to use. And I have been teaching. I'm a high school teacher. I've been teaching for 24 years. I just completed year 24. I've taught actually in 2 states, Texas and Missouri, and I am headed to my 6th district for the next school year. I am a national presenter and author of Rockin' the Boat. It is my blog, and it is a top 200 educational blog. And recently, Eric Kurtz listed it in his top 75 ed tech blogs, and that totally made my day. I have been published by Matt Miller and a lot of educational companies, and I'm a co-author of the new book. I don't know if you've seen it, Stop 100 Things to Stop Doing Right Now that teachers should stop doing right now. I have page 77, my chapter, and it was super fun to write. So if you haven't seen that book, go check it out. It'll get a lot of awkward conversations started. I have also co-created a Microsoft course with Bunsey, Francesca from Bunsey, and that was a great experience too. And we have a creativity SEL course if you are into Microsoft and their badging system and taking courses. And my cohorts. Now, I kind of wrote this without their knowledge or input.
That's all right. We're good.
But Jeff is my preacher at Roby Christian Church, and Liz, his wife, homeschools. So their children are homeschooled, and Liz is actually my favorite sub at school. She does sub. But we started esports, and they talked me into it, and they have homeschool kids. So that esports became a way we could actually reach kids in our community that weren't in our school building. But they do take some online courses here and there with our district, or not, because, you know, homeschool, you have lots of different options. At least we do here in Missouri. So Jeffrey was recently named our regional rep for MOSEF, and MOSEF is our Missouri Scholastic Esports Federation. And that is the guiding body that makes the rules for our esports teams, leagues, and everything that we do with schools and esports. And he's a regional rep for Region
2. We are the Southwest region,
which I couldn't remember, so I didn't put that on there. And then my friend Liz over here helps MOSEF out with communication through the app Discord. If you've never heard of the app Discord and you are interested in esports, Discord is where everything happens. So what do you do exactly for most stuff in Discord?
I organize all of it's set up so that you have servers and then channels in each of the servers. And I organize the channels so that you can find the information that you need. I also monitor, we have a community server, which involves students. And so I monitor and moderate that in order to make sure that things are meeting our policies, principles, and values that we have through MOSEF and through all of the public schools throughout the state.
Because anytime you have students chatting with other students from anywhere, you really do need to moderate that.
Exactly.
And again, this dynamo couple is why I am in esports. If you want to follow us, here are our Twitter handles. Pretty much on any social media, I am at Steinbrink Laura. If you want to get with us on Discord, just hit us up on Twitter and we will then help you from there. You can DM us or just tweet out even after today. There's our handles. And again, I've left the link there if you need to type it in or just go grab it in the chat. I do have some champions from League of Legends joining us today. I have Ash and Warwick. I let my son pick one, and then I just picked one that I remembered from some of our games. So I'm proud of myself. I remembered one.
I am too.
Right. And they said it wasn't a bad one. So, hey,
Yeah,
there you go.
Good one.
So why esports? And I'm going to kind of get started on why I said yes. Okay, I am an educator. I do not play video games. I live in a household of everyone else in my household plays video games. I don't. The closest I come to playing a game is solitaire on my phone. And that was back in the day. I wasn't super busy, unlike now where I don't have time to do that. But that is the most gaming I ever did. I was more into athletic sports, not so much esports, but my husband and children love video games of lots of kinds. So it's not like I had never been exposed to them. I just wasn't really into them. Well, guess what? To get esports started at your school, you don't have to be into them. It does help if you have people to help you who are into them, like the two I brought with me today. I had a student debate. I usually do this in English too. I had some student debates. They get to pick the topic. It's our end of the year project-based learning activity, and it gets them all excited about learning because they're choosing the topic. And they have to get a partner and have two sides of an issue, and I outlaw some issues that are just way too overwhelming for students. Anyway, I had two girls pick esports. Is it a sport or not? And that was their debate. And they both did a brilliant job. But it got me to thinking, the girl who was pro esports had a lot of good points. And her name is Nivea. And when they came to me and said, and this was actually the summer following the debate, hey, we want to start esports at Plato. And I was thinking, okay, Nivea would like that. So, okay, I don't know how to do any of that, but let's do it. Now, some of you might not jump in quite like I do, but I had two gung-ho people. So I was ready to go do it. Esports, I didn't even know what that would be. I know they like to watch it on TV. I did this about all I knew. So I went to the superintendent and I said, we want to start an esports team. And I told her who was going to do it with me. One is a sub, one's her husband, community leader. Can we do an esports team? She said, sure. There's no budget. I said, okay. I didn't have any idea what we'd need anyway, so that was fine. It's really not fine. I'm just saying that we went with it. We'll get into that.
Yeah.
It is helpful to have a budget or a husband like mine who is the tech director and is just really good at finding good deals. And we'll talk about that too. But here's what you can bring to your kids, okay? Leadership, communication, inclusiveness, okay? Esports is a way to provide an opportunity that kids don't have. If they don't feel like they fit in anywhere, they fit in esports. I am amazed at the kids that show up. They have never been in anything before, ever. And then they get connected with a club at school. And you can just be a club. It doesn't have to be a competitive club. It could just be a club, but that gives them a place to be included. And I will get to how that has impacted some lives in a minute. But scholarships, oh, my friends, there are college scholarships pouring out into kids to play video games. They can get a full ride. You need to invest in your kids and give them this opportunity. And critical thinking, it's amazing, the critical thinking. Every time I go to a meet, I'm thinking, my gosh, if we could only channel that for the math or the, science or any of the other subjects. English, can I make that into a game? Oh, my word. And it's amazing. And then sportsmanship, and that is a big part of it, because we don't trash talk. There's things we do not say. We have open communication with our own team, and then we're supportive of everyone, even those who beat us. It's a tough way to learn, but just like any sport, that's how you have to play the game, right? Or how you should play the game. Okay, so a talent actually is a student I had, and he happened to be the brother of Nivea. Oddly enough. So he was one of the first, he and Nivea, to come to esports. And then he did it, does his junior year or does senior year? So only his senior year. And just his senior year, learning those games, I don't think he could practice at home, or could he?
No.
He could not practice at home.
We are in a rural area. And so we cannot, we don't have students who have internet connection, and some of you probably have the same thing, which we all discovered to our dismay when the virus hit and the pandemic took over our schools, that we have kids that do not have an internet connection. So we are rural and we are small, and this kid could not practice at home, and he only put 1 year into learning a game, and not even that full year, and he still had colleges saying, hey, come play for us. But his senior year, at the end, we do a thing called Senior Book, and they put in a quote or advice to other students. They can leave a will. We have some neat things that we include. And he included that the sentiment that he wished he had belonged in a club before his senior year. He did not know how that could change his life. And he went from a quiet, shy, never talk student to just the opposite. It just woke him up, and his personality just burst forth. And I will never forget that day, because he's one of those kids who never talk, and you're always trying to get him in a conversation. And then suddenly, wow, we tapped into talent. And he told me he'd never been in a school club team or anything before. Thank you. So if that is not going to motivate you, I'm not sure I can, but I'm going to do my best. So we have put some information on this slideshow, but mostly it's to keep us on target. Okay, so Missouri is one of the top states right now in development of esports programming. We know a little bit about Texas and how they're operating as well, because we partner with them sometimes on some things. And their organization is TEXA.
Texas.
Right? So it's Texas Scholastic Esports Federation. And then the Arkansas one we know a little bit less about, but we do know about. So if you are from those two states, we can help you with a little bit of information.
And I will even point out that even if you're not from Missouri or Texas, I know most stuff we allow coaches and admin from other states to participate in our Discord server, just to get the resources that the rest of us are putting together and sharing out there, and the training and things like that we have. We've partnered with a lot of colleges who have a lot of information that are willing to share.
Yeah, I mean, it may not be competitive wise, but the resources really go all across the board.
All across the board. And we just started with a club.
Yeah.
We met once a week after school. And NASEF, which is
North American Scholastic Esports Federation.
That's like the national big daddy. They have curriculum. They have resources.
It's
so
free.
And it's all free. Start there. It's all free. So if you are interested in that, it's nasef.com.
EDU.
No, nasef.edu. You can go there. And I think on my somewhere on here I have some of that. I have it linked, I believe. Let me go to the next page. Okay, so we just finished year 2. It seems like year forever, but just year 2 because we have learned so much.
Oh my goodness.
When we had COVID in the middle of it too. So.
Oh yeah, there was COVID makes it seem like it was a way long time ago. In fact, we missed out on the League of Legends season last spring.
No, we
didn't.
had just finished
Oh,
it.
good. We had just finished it. So we had managed to get our stuff done barely right before they shut down. But here's the other cool thing. We were still on Discord with all our students, so we could still communicate and play games with them wherever they were. If students didn't have internet, they did find some ways to get to internet because they had to for some of the school things, not all. We provided paper options during that main shutdown. But it was super nice that these two, me not as much, but I am on there. I'm just not super active. But they kept up with our students. They would organize games and play in the evenings and keep their social emotional attitudes and skills going and not let them get too wrapped up in their own problems, which was easy to do during the pandemic.
Yeah, it was really a great time for our students to bond together and to help each other through difficult times. They would even post in our esports Discord about needing help with homework, and somebody else would walk them through their homework. And these are students who weren't even friends a couple years ago, but met through esports and were helping support each other through those times.
Because we're so rural, like I said, it's really hard to keep in contact with a lot of our students. And when we dismissed early because of COVID, or we went to online for COVID, Laura was able to say like, hey, one of our students hasn't turned in any work. And I hop on a League of Legends and, he's online in League of Legends and say, hey, stop playing video games and get your work turned in. And so it just gave us one more avenue to communicate with students when we weren't in person.
Well, and I was using Remind, but they could ignore that. But if they're playing a game and they're on Discord, he knows they're playing. He can see that. And they don't ignore Discord because gaming. So that was very handy. Not that we had a big club, but it was very handy to hit the kids that we did. Okay. So I do have the links. Okay. So if you're on the presentation, you can go to the links for Missouri Scholastic Esports Federation or NASEF, which is the North Atlantic, and it's North American. I don't know why I always say Atlantic. I always say Atlantic. I am so sorry, ladies and gentlemen. The North American. So it's really our national, and it's got all kinds of stuff, and it's where we started. It has the curriculum that we use for club. And it's really awesome the way it helps students learn the how to do teamwork and how to have good digital citizenship. And you can get stuff from other schools and work through curriculum or not. You can bring in consoles. You can just play computer games. You can really structure it however you want. But it is, let me tell you, an hour of joy for so many kids. So many kids. Even if you start with 3 or 4, they'll just keep trickling in. Because they'll be like, oh my gosh, you get to play games? I'm coming. And they bring friends. All right. So we have actually put together some information for you all. And I don't know if we want to. Yeah, we can. I'll let you guys talk about how to organize your team or club. If you're going competitive, this is where you get into teams.
I would say we started out as a club, as Laura had said. We started out with letting the kids play a lot of different school-approved games. I would say we had Fortnite, and we started League of Legends, things like that. Rocket League, some of those, and a lot of those have competitive opportunities. And so because we had enough students interested in League of Legends, that's where we decided to start. It's the #1 esport, and it's the easiest way to get recruited to college. Just throwing that out there. If you want a scholarship to college, play League of Legends. So that's why we started with that. And we started through NASEF, and then we worked into MOSEF just because it was a little bit of a smaller group and it wasn't quite so overwhelming for us.
We wanted our students to be playing other schools that they knew and were local. So MOSEF is just the Missouri schools. And so even though they may not necessarily know every school in Missouri, they're like, oh, that school is just down the road from us and we're going to compete against them against League of Legends. It just built more excitement.
Because in NASEF, we competed in the central time zone, and that was fun.
It's large.
It's large. It was it was huge. And we were playing schools all over the nation, which also was fun, but usually they were big city schools and everybody has internet.
Yeah.
But I do see that we are one of the few in our area that has esports. So we're still playing Kansas City and St. Louis schools who all have internet in Springfield.
So this is why we need everybody to start esports.
Yes, everybody start esports. So we have more people to play who might be like us. We love the small school rural division. That would be great.
Part of the reason we went with NASEF and MOSEF is because of the affordability of it. NASEF doesn't have any registration fees. MOSEF has very minimal. I think we pay like $50 for a season.
$50 or what you can.
Or what you can.
If you can't afford
if you can't afford the $50, which is amazing. There are other companies that do charge more that do have some great programs. We honestly just as a esports group with no budget, we can't really afford to participate in those. But there are options out there for that.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions? I can't see you, so I assume my handy dandy monitor will interrupt. I will pause for a second if you need to let me know if there's a question. Okay, I don't hear anything, so I hope we're still live.
There have not been any questions yet.
Okay, good.
Okay, good.
We are still live. Yay! Okay, so here are some more ways you can organize to be competitive.
For this, it is instead of playing an entire season, which can take up a lot of time and effort to organize and trying to figure out how to understand, you can do some shorter competitions.
Yeah, so if you know anything about League of Legends, they actually signed an exclusive deal with Play VS for seasons. And so for League of Legends this past year, rather than doing a season, which we weren't allowed to do because of terms of service, we just hosted like weekend invitationals. And we would invite, 8 to 16 schools and all participate in, like 4 or 5 hours on Friday, 4 or 5 hours on Saturday, and have a really cool one weekend tournament. Also, a lot of the games actually have competitive experiences built in, usually through like a tournament. So with Riot, they do Clash. I think it's every other weekend, and they'll pair you with 7 other teams that are in your skill level. Fortnite will do different types of tournaments on different weeks. And then if you just jump online or in your local area, there's tons of groups like in Missouri. We have eFuse is kind of based in St. Louis, and they've done a lot of stuff for us.
Although they're open to other states.
Yeah, they are open to other states. They're just getting started here, but they host tournaments. And then I'm just trying to think of
our local science center also hosts competitions up in St. Louis. So that's another venue that you can check out. Looking for like discovery centers or science centers are frequently starting to get into hosting.
Groups like BattleFi and Smash.gg are online groups that host invitationals or tournaments all the time, and they're just a great way to plug your students in and see
with
if
less commitment.
Yes, see if that competitive environment is a fit for them, or if they just want to be more casual social gamers.
Right, because it is different when you get into team play. So kids who have played by themselves and are pretty good find that it's a little different kind of a atmosphere when you have to play as a team, which is great for communication skills.
And that critical thinking.
And that critical thinking.
Oh, yeah.
So here are some other things we do competitively.
So in MOSEF, we have a scrim finder where we just communicate with schools and we'll say, hey, our League of Legends team is a silver ranked team, and we can find other silver ranked teams and say, hey, let's set up a time to play at this time. And sometimes we'll just play it like a practice match, and other times we'll say, hey, we really want to work on drafting or this specific teamwork composition. Can you set up something that will work well with that?
We've also scrimmed against a coaches team. So a team of coaches that have played together. And then after the practice, the practice game that they played, the coaches each individually met, or like on Discord, met with the students to talk about what went well, what didn't go well, what they could have done, some things to practice. So they can be really helpful where they're competitive, but also they don't really matter whether you win or lose.
Yeah, and then if you're again, there's a lot of other organizations out there. So Upsurge just changed their name. I can't remember their new name. I think if you Google Upsurge, you'll still find it. But they do a lot of competitive League of Legends, and then you can find scrims with people all across the country, or even across the world. And so like high tier play, that's where they go for a lot of stuff, because they're looking for teams that are very, very talented. You can find Diamond to Challenger ranked teams there. So there's a lot of organizations for setting up scrims even.
And so scrims is what they say instead of scrimmage.
Yeah.
That's the esports version. So if you're in athletics, you say scrimmage, but if you're in esports, scrim.
We shorten everything.
I was going to say there is kind of a language that you pick up over time, and it's always a good idea if somebody uses a word that you don't understand, ask. Yeah. Everybody that I have ever encountered has been totally open to explaining what it meant, because it is a whole nother language in and of itself.
Yeah, if you want to teach jargon in school, because as an English teacher, that is something we cover, esports has its own jargon. And actually, Liz made a kind of like a dictionary for our parents, a cheat sheet for parents, because pre-COVID, parents could come in and we had a place where they could view the game. When we're doing a season or a game or a match, there is a 3-minute delay. Coaches do not get to actually coach during it. So if you're sitting there thinking, I'm not sure what's on. Oh yeah. So if you're sitting there thinking, oh my goodness, I can't coach this. Well, you don't have to. There are coaches online if one doesn't show up in your community. And speaking of that, when we first got started, they were in my classroom using my yearbook computers, because they had the best setup at that time because most people in the district don't have to run Fortnite or League of Legends or anything else. So my husband had made sure we had what we needed on the yearbook ones. Even though it wasn't perfect, it's got us started.
Yeah.
So that's all you need, is something to get started with. So we're in my room after school every Tuesday, and our resource officer, James, is like, what are you guys doing? And he, turns out, is a huge League of Legends fan and player. And so another coach was born. He came right in and we put him to work. So our coaches do a few different things during a match or scrim. So I'm going to finish this presentation just so we can talk to you about what all we do during that. If you need some resources, I have written a post about why you should do esports. So if you need to convince anyone in your district, read that, take some notes. And then we have some Google Docs that Liz created on how to start. We've have a packet now, because schools come to us, the area schools, including the one I'm heading to, which is a big 5A school. It has 3 floors or more in the high school, which it's not as big as where we've been located for Innovation Institute the last few years in Springdale. It's not quite that big, but it's in that league of school. Well, actually, it might be that big. It's just a different structure of a building. But anyway, I'm going to a huge school, and they don't have esports, but they have the budget to buy everything new. So they're going to start from the ground up. So we've just created technical specs so you can hand that to your tech department or your administrator, and this is what we need. And is it that a bare bones one?
Yeah, it's very.
It's the whatever the minimum requirement is for each of the different games.
So it'll give you a minimum requirement, and you can go from there. I'm going to go back over to get back on with us here. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing so we can look at you all and go to full screen so I can see. Okay, so we have something. Did my camera go off again? Yeah. Okay. So we've compiled a packet that we hand people. Oh, I see there's a chat now. Okay, there's the camera. Okay. Hello, everyone. So we do have some information that we've listed there so that you can see our goals. The one called Plato ESports has our goals, our educational objectives, because there are a lot of educational objectives there. And are there any questions now? I see there's a chat.
I see. And we could talk forever about this.
We really could.
So
What time is it? Sorry, I forgot my.
It is 11:60.
Okay. What time are we done here?
11:15.
Okay, so now.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone for coming. If
One
you have any questions, do it
question
now.
I-
Otherwise, oh yeah.
Sorry. One question I did have was, are there any elementary school options, or are these geared towards secondary?
I would say that we actually, part of the reason why we are called the Missouri Scholastic Esports Federation is we used to be the Missouri Scholastic Missouri High School Esports Association, but it is moving to the lower ages. Now you do have to be careful the types of games you play. We play some team rated games in the high school level, but we don't even open those up to the middle school. And so elementary and middle school are able to play we play Super Smash Brothers.
Yeah, elementary could do that
which
one.
is open to elementary.
What about Rocket League?
Yeah,
And
Rocket
Rocket
League.
League.
And,
Rocket League.
and we haven't done this yet, but Minecraft has a lot of
Yes.
both casual
Yes.
and competitive opportunities and is a great education tool.
Yes, so those are great for elementary. So yeah, it actually would help your program the lower you start, because
Yes.
our next adventure will be middle school. And I know the district I'm heading to is going to start middle school and high school all at the same time, but they're more funded than we are.
And please reach out to us on social media. We literally could talk about this forever,
Literally.
and have way more information than even what we've given here.
Yes, so if there are any other questions, we'll hang out. Otherwise, go enjoy your conference, and I will see you all later. I have a few more sessions.
Thank you for joining this session. To request a certificate of attendance, you can access the link at the bottom of the session description, scan the QR code here, or go to bit.ly/I2 certificate. Bit.ly shorteners are case sensitive, so please be sure to use all uppercase letters. Hear what insight other I2 attendees and presenters might have on this session and other breakout sessions by connecting with the Innovation Institute community on Facebook or Twitter at I2 Estale or in Attendify's interactive features. And don't forget to mark your calendar for June 8th and 9th to join us for I2 2022. Thank you.